Hello, and welcome to our channel, Shakespeare's Plays and Summaries, where we go over the works of William Shakespeare. Be sure to subscribe and check out our library of videos. Alright, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that a commoner's daughter could cure a dying king, all just to win a husband who thinks she's, well, beneath him? You'd probably think she's either a genius or completely delusional. And you know what? In All's Well That Ends Well, our hero Helena is kind of both. So get ready, because this is not your standard fairy tale romance. Oh no, this is a ruthless, high-stakes game of social climbing and, believe it or not, medical miracles. And this quote, man, it just nails the whole vibe of the story. We're talking about a love that is so persistent, so single-minded, that it really does feel like a tactical siege. It's basically an assault. And trust me, the lengths this woman goes to, they're just unbelievable. Especially when you realize she's doing it all for a guy who literally flees to a war zone just to avoid her. Yeah, a war zone. Alright, Section 1, the unwinnable game. And it really is. It's a commoner's love versus a noble's scorn. So let's set the scene. When we first meet our protagonist, Helena, she's in a pretty tough spot. Her dad, who is this legendary doctor, has just died. So she's now living as a ward in the household of the Countess of Rakion. And of course, she is hopelessly, completely in love with the Countess's son, Bertram. And I mean, the gap between them is just massive. You've got Helena, a commoner, a brilliant strategist, but totally head over heels in love. And then you've got Bertram, a count who is so arrogant and frankly, hopelessly oblivious. To him, she's practically part of the furniture. He's young, he's full of himself, and he is completely obsessed with his so-called noble blood. Seriously, he barely even knows she's alive. So naturally, when Bertram gets called away to Paris to serve at the king's court, he doesn't even give Helena a second glance. But here's the thing about Helena. She is not a victim. She's a strategist. And she hatches this incredible plan. It's this brilliant, simple equation. If her medicine can save a king, well then a king can grant her a husband. She's going to use her father's secret medical knowledge to cure the King of France, and in return, she'll get the one thing she wants more than anything, Bertram. Okay, on to Section 2, a royal gambit, a king's life for a husband's hand. Now, her target, the King of France, he is in serious trouble. We're talking a fatal condition, a fistula, that every single doctor in Europe has tried and failed to cure. The king has basically given up. He's just waiting to die. And for Helena, this is her opening. So she gets to Paris, armed with her dad's secret cures, and makes a proposal that sounds like an absolute suicide mission. Just look at this high-stakes bet. Step 1, she offers to cure the king in just 2 days. 2, the king, of course, thinks she's nuts. So step 2, she lays out the risk. If she fails, she faces a gruesome public execution. But, and this is the kicker, step 3, if she succeeds, her award is that she gets to choose any nobleman in his court to be her husband. The king, who's basically got nothing to lose at this point, says, all right, you're on. Next up, the prize and the price. A miracle, a marriage, and a mockery. Because against all odds, it works. The miracle actually happens. The king is cured, he's up, he's walking around, he feels great, and he's ready to make good on his promise. This is it. This is the moment Helena has been planning and fighting for this whole time. And what happens next is it's incredible. You have to picture this. The king literally lines up all the young, eligible, noble bachelors in France. It's like a 17th century episode of The Bachelorette, I'm not kidding. And Helena, she walks right down the line. She passes over all these other handsome, powerful lords. And she stops right in front of Bertram. And she says, I choose you. So how does Bertram react to this? Well, his reaction is legendary, but for all the wrong reasons. He is absolutely horrified, disgusted. Right there in front of the king and the entire court, he rejects her. He basically shouts that she's just a poor physician's daughter, and that there's no way he's gonna taint his precious noble blood by marrying someone of her low status. He treats her like she's nothing, just absolute dirt. But the king is having none of it. He just shuts Bertram down with this incredible line. He says, virtue is the true nobility. Basically telling him that being a good person is what matters, not your family name. And then he lays down the law. Marry her right now or you'll have to deal with me. So with the king breathing down his neck, what's a guy like Bertram going to do? Well, he does what any coward would do when faced with an angry king. He gives in. He agrees to the wedding. But you can just tell his mind is already spinning, trying to figure out a way to escape. So they have the ceremony. But there is absolutely zero romance. And I mean, immediately after they say, I do, he tells Helena he has some urgent business to attend to. He sends her away, promising he'll follow her home soon. Spoiler alert, it's a complete lie. Their paths split right then and there. While he sends Helena home to Rossignon to wait for a husband who's never going to show up, what does Bertram do? He and his slimy friend Parolles run off to Italy to go fight in the Florentine Wars. Think about that. He would rather face actual cannons and get shot at on a battlefield than spend a single night with his new wife. So we come to the impossible conditions. A cruel letter that sets the new rules of this war between them. So there's Helena back at home waiting when she gets a letter from Bertram. And this letter, it's designed to be the final nail in the coffin of their marriage. It is cold, it is cruel, and it lays out two conditions that he thinks are completely impossible to meet. So here they are, Bertram's terms of surrender, basically. He tells her she can call him her husband, but only when, 1, she can get his family's ancestral ring off his figure, a ring he has sworn will never leave it, and 2, when she can show him a child that he is the father of. Two things that, require his active participation, which he has no intention of giving. He is absolutely certain these things can never, ever happen. And he ends the letter with this absolutely brutal line. He says, in such a then, I write a never. He's not just setting conditions. He's spelling it out for her. This is impossible. It's over. He's basically ghosted her on an international scale, making it crystal clear that as far as he's concerned, they are never, ever getting together. The scene shifts now to Florence, a new kind of battlefield. We're moving from sadness to strategy. Now, you or I, we'd probably get that letter, have a good cry, and move on. But Helena is not most people. She doesn't fall apart. She gets to work. She has this sudden realization, as long as she's at home in Rossignon, Bertram will stay in that dangerous war just to avoid her. Knowing she must change the battlefield, a new plan is born. It's a ruse, a pilgrim's journey. Publicly, she tells the Countess that she's so heartbroken, she's going on a long religious pilgrimage. She frames it like a noble sacrifice, right? The hope is that if Bertram hears she's gone for good, maybe he'll finally come home safe from the war. It looks like a completely selfless act, but it's also a fantastic piece of misdirection. So are Bertram's conditions impossible, or are they just a challenge? Because Helena's little pilgrimage has a very, very specific destination in mind. She's not looking for God. She's looking for her husband. She's heading straight for Florence, the new battlefield. She heard those impossible conditions, and she's about to prove that for a woman like Helena, impossible is just another word for game on. Okay, get ready for a masterclass in deception. We're leaving behind the stuffy, formal courts of France and diving headfirst into the chaotic streets of Florence. And this is where we meet our hero, Helena. A woman who's been totally scorned, but she's about to play the long game. And trust me, she is gonna win. So, get this, her husband, this guy Bertram, has completely ghosted her. He thinks she's not good enough for him, right? So he literally runs off to war and leaves her with this insane list of impossible demands. He tells her, yeah, you can get the ring right off my finger and show me our child, then you can call me husband. I mean, seriously? Now, anyone else would just give up, right? But not Helena. No way. This is the puzzle she has to solve. So, the big question is, how on earth does she pull this off? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're gonna break down her entire master plan, step by incredible step. We'll look at her long game, a really crucial alliance she forges, how she sets the perfect trap, exposes a total liar, and then executes this one final, just brilliant deception that all leads to an epic showdown. Alright, first up, Helena's long game. So she gets to Italy, and she's disguised as this humble pilgrim. I mean, it's the perfect cover for a little reconnaissance, And you won't believe it, she almost immediately hits the jackpot. She finds out her husband is making a complete fool of himself trying to charm this local woman named Diana. And this perfectly shows you the difference between these two. I mean, look at Bertram. In public, he's this celebrated war hero in Florence. Everyone loves him. But his personal life? Oh, it's a total disaster. He's completely obsessed with Diana, and he's chasing after her with the exact same arrogance he used to reject Helena. The irony. He's playing the fool, and Helena? Well, she's about to prove she's the mastermind. So Bertram's promising Diana the moon and the stars. Anything to get her into bed. But here's the thing. Diana is smart. She's heard the stories, she knows his reputation, and she is not falling for it. And right there, in that perfect storm of Bertram's recklessness and Diana's sharp mind, Helena sees her opening. The game is officially on. This is where the Florentine alliance comes into play. Helena doesn't waste any time. She goes straight to Diana and her mother, the widow, to reveal her true identity. As proof, she shows them Bertram's cruel, impossible letter before making them an offer they can't refuse, a brilliant strategic alliance. Her proposal is simple. If they help her meet her husband's conditions, she'll provide Diana with a massive dowry, enough to marry whoever she chooses. It's a total win-win. Now, the absolute core of this plan revolves around a classic, somewhat infamous literary device, the bed trick. It's exactly what it sounds like, tricking someone into sleeping with a person who isn't who they think they are. And Helena is about to pull it off like a master. Enter the masterstroke, setting the trap. The strategy Helena cooks up and has Diana propose to Bertram is nothing short of brilliant. It's so precise, and it's designed to exploit every single one of his weaknesses. So here's what Diana tells him. First, she demands his family ring, the one he swore would never leave his finger, as a token of his affection. Second, she insists that their little encounter has to happen in total darkness and in absolute silence, and it can only last for 1 hour. And of course, Bertram, who is just completely blinded by his own lust and ego, he agrees to everything. No questions asked. And here is the switch. In the pitch-black darkness of that room, it is not Diana waiting for him in that bed. It's Helena. So while Bertram thinks he's finally conquering this new woman, he's actually fulfilling the second impossible condition of his own marriage. He is so wrapped up in himself, he doesn't even recognize his own wife. I mean, the irony here is just incredible, right? The guy who ran halfway across Europe just to get away from Helena is now, without even knowing it, giving her exactly what she needs to claim him as her husband. He's literally ticking off the boxes on his own impossible list for her. Okay, so while all of this brilliant psychological warfare is going on, Helena's plan gets this totally unexpected boost. There's this amazing subplot that just completely dismantles Bertram's support system, and it does it by exposing how truly terrible his judgment is. And it all centers on his so-called best friend, this guy named Paroles, who is a notorious coward and a massive liar. So the other soldiers, they're just sick of Paroles and his ego. They decide it's time to expose him for the total fraud he is. They set up this super elaborate prank. They kidnap him, they blindfold him, and they pretend to be some terrifying foreign army. And as you can probably guess, Paroles just cracks under the tiniest bit of pressure. Yeah, to save his own skin, Paroles starts spilling secrets on everyone, including his supposed best friend, Bertram. He calls Bertram a dangerous and lascivious boy and just completely trashes his character, telling his captors all sorts of embarrassing gossip. In the best part of all this, Bertram is watching the whole thing unfold from the shadows. He finally sees the truth about the man he's been trusting, the man he's been taking advice from. And in that one moment, his judgment is just shattered. His entire social circle completely collapses. Okay, now for the final piece of the puzzle, the final deception. So Helen has got the ring, his child is conceived, it's time to execute her endgame. She starts this very convincing rumor that she has died on her pilgrimage. She wants the entire world, but especially Bertram, to believe she's gone for good. And this fake news, it works perfectly. Word gets back to the French court, and with the obstacle of Helena now supposedly gone, the king and Bertram's own mother call him back to France. See, their plan is to get him to finally marry someone they think is appropriate. He's being pulled right back into the lion's den, exactly where Helena needs him. So you've got this picture, right? Bertram leaves Florence, thinking he's finally free. But Helena is following right behind him, in secret, and she is armed with all the proof she could ever need. Meanwhile, back in France, the king is getting ready to arrange a whole new marriage for him. All these paths are converging on one point, and Bertram has absolutely no idea that he is walking straight into a trap that has been so meticulously laid for him. And all of this leads to the final act, the showdown at court. We're back in the royal palace at Racaillon, and let me tell you, the tension is just at an absolute breaking point. This is it. This is where it all comes together. So Helena walks into this final confrontation, and she has an incredible arsenal at her disposal. She's got Bertram's family ring. She's got the widow and Diana as her witnesses. And most important of all, she's pregnant with their child from that night in Florence. She literally has everything she needs. So there you have it. The impossible has been achieved. She met both of his crazy conditions. But believe it or not, the hardest part is still yet to come. She now has to stand up and confront Bertram in front of everybody. The king, his mother, the entire court, and prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that she did it. You can just feel the tension. It is immense. The moment of truth has arrived. Bertram is about to learn a very, very hard lesson. You might think you can run from a brilliant woman, but you can never, ever outrun her plan. And that's where we'll leave it. Helena pulled off the impossible with this just breathtaking display of strategy and intelligence. But it does bring up one last crucial question for you to chew on. Can a marriage that's won entirely through deception ever really truly be won? Okay, so the dust from the Italian wars has finally settled. The action is shifting back to the super fancy halls of Rossolan. And let me tell you, this is it. This is the final showdown. And right at the center of everything, our guy Bertram. He's just come back, a celebrated war hero. Everyone's cheering his name, but his entire victory is about to get completely shattered, and all because of one single tiny object. Alright, let's just take a look at Bertram's situation here. I mean, he's back in the king's good graces, which is huge. He's putting on a big show, publicly mourning the quote-unquote death of his wife Helena. And to top it all off, he's about to lock down a brand new marriage to a powerful lord's daughter. So on the surface, it really looks like he's won the game. But then, right in the middle of all the celebration, the king's eye catches something. He spots it. A very, very specific ring on Bertram's finger. And the king? He recognizes that ring instantly. I mean, there's no question. It's the one he gave to Helena as a reward for curing him. And he knows for a fact that she swore she would never part with it. Unless one of two very specific, very extreme things happened. So you can imagine what happens next, right? The king's mind just leaps to the absolute darkest possibility, foul play. He starts thinking, wait a minute, did Bertram murder Helena to get that ring? So the king confronts him, and what does Bertram do? He panics. He tells this just outrageous, bold-faced lie. He's like, oh, this ring? Yeah, some random woman just threw it at me from a window back in Florence. But of course, we know the truth. The king knows the truth. This was a priceless, super personal gift. The stories, they just do not add up. Yeah, the king doesn't buy it for a second. He sees right through that lie. And he doesn't even hesitate. Bam! Bertram is arrested right there on the spot. The hero's welcome. Oh, it's officially over. And just when you think things can't get any more chaotic, a brand new player walks onto the scene. Diana arrives at court, and she is not there to be some Scorn mistress. Oh no. She is there to be the star witness in what is about to become Bertram's complete and total undoing. And get this, Diana comes armed with evidence. First, she pulls out Bertram's own family ring. Yep, the one he gave her. And then she drops the bombshell that he promised to marry her. The case against our boy Bertram is getting stronger and stronger by the second. And this? This is where we really see Bertram's true colors. He's cornered, he's desperate, so what does he do? He tries to absolutely destroy Diana's reputation. He calls her a common gamester, a camp follower. Basically, he's willing to ruin anyone to save his own skin. But here's the thing. Diana is way smarter than that. She doesn't just get angry and yell back. Nope. She responds with a riddle. A riddle that literally brings the entire court to a standstill and just makes this whole mystery even deeper. So she presents the king with this puzzle, right? She says she knows about the ring Bertram has, but she's not the one who gave it to him. And then she says this wild thing. She is neither a maid, a widow, nor a wife. I mean, the contradictions are just baffling. How is that even possible? You can just imagine the king. He is completely losing his mind trying to figure all of this out. It makes no sense. And it's right there at that exact moment of peak confusion that the ultimate reveal finally happens. The doors swing open, and in walks Helena. The dead wife is alive. Can you imagine? The entire room just goes absolutely silent. There she is, standing right in front of the man who ran away from her, the man who was so sure she was gone forever. And oh, she doesn't just show up. She brings the receipts. One by one, she lays out her entire case with flawless logic. First, she holds up Bertram's family ring. Then she quotes his own impossible conditions right back at him from his own cruel litter. And for the final blow, she reveals that she is pregnant with his child. She looks him dead in the eye and quotes his own cruel challenge back at him. She finishes with this absolutely devastating question. This is done. Will you be mine? Now you are doubly one. I mean, the logic is undeniable. There's no escape. He is completely, utterly trapped by his own words. So in this final moment, right, he's faced with Helena's sheer brilliance on one side and the very real threat of being executed by the king on the other. And Bertram's arrogance just shatters. It's gone. He completely collapses into submission. And then he turns to the king and says it. This sudden, super dramatic declaration of love for Helena. It is such an astonishingly quick 180 from the guy who, just moments before, absolutely despised her. But let's be clear, for Helena, this is an absolute victory. Think about it. She used her father's medicine to heal a king, and now she's used her own intelligence to conquer a husband and the entire rigid social order that protected him. The so-called poor physician's daughter has outplayed every single one of them. It just goes to show you, in a world that's all about your birthright, real power that can come from wit and pure determination. So how does it all wrap up? Well, the king is satisfied, and he basically declares, all's well that ends well. Diana, for her troubles, gets a dowry as a reward, and the social order snaps back into place. But you'll notice the story doesn't end with some passionate romantic kiss. It ends with a practical, hard-won peace. Which, of course, leaves us with the great lingering question of the whole play. When you look at Bertram's sudden promise to love Helena ever, ever dearly, you just have to ask yourself, was that change of heart for real? Or was it just a desperate last-ditch move to save his own neck? Now that is the puzzle we're all left to solve. Hope you liked All's Well That Ends Well. Find more classics and support us at the Athenaeum Hub.